Dick in my ass. Dick in my ass. Oh my god, it's recording. Okay. Okay.
All right. We can do it as many times as we want. We're gonna have to figure out how to edit this either way. So
Dick in my ass. Dick in my
yeah,
ass. All right, I
yes,
got it.
I understand.
No, I'm just preparing the right tone.
Okay, here we go. History teaches us important lessons.
Like never put it in the ass first, always last.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dick,
I'm ass.
and
And this
this
is
is
the
the
Dick
Dick
Ass
Ass
Podcast.
Podcast. That wasn't too bad.
That was
I think we'd be rolling with that.
straight. I'm moist right now, bro.
On God. All right.
Yeah, we're not
Let me
cutting
put.
any of this out.
Oh no, honestly, I like it. I like it the way it is, man. Let's just keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
this
let's roll with it.
fucking. I don't need this. I don't need this at all. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Yeah.
Actually, just full screen my notes. All right. Here we go. Okay. So, I'm gonna start today. Oh, by the way, we should probably like introduce
Yeah, give
ourselves,
these
huh?
niggas a run. Oh, fuck. I
All right. You know what? Oh, I like it already. Okay. So I am Gino. I am Dick, and my co-host here is Edward. He is Ass. We are not going to explain the origin of Dick Ass Podcast. It's just it is what it is. But we are going to be doing history because that is a subject that interests us, and hopefully you as well if you're listening to this. But today we're gonna start with me first, and then bitch ass Edward over here will get his next. But
I'm so lucky this is recording.
oh yeah, anything to me, huh? So
Talking.
so we decided to start with just things that interested us the most. So I'm actually going to be starting with Old Norse religion or Norse mythology, going into the history of how it started, how it ended a little bit, and then I'm going to be telling a story from Norse mythology.
Mm.
All right. Now you are my audience right now, Edward. All right. I hope I can teach you something here, but here we go.
No.
So, with so Old Norse religion, also has been called Norse paganism, was developed in the Proto-Norse period when the Northern Germanic people separated into their own branch of Germanic people in Northern Europe. Was later replaced by Christianity and forgotten. So a lot of the stuff that we do know about Old Norse mythology is kind of hard to like figure out. So we're gonna get into it a little bit later. Like when I'm telling one of the stories, it's gonna go off rail, and you're not gonna understand what's going on at all. And that's mainly because of, Christianity coming in and kind of like erasing it.
Yeah, they
So
said get that heretic shit out of here. We hate that.
on God. But I'm also going to be bringing up Christianity religion in comparison to Nordic religion a couple of times here. And then a little fact, Proto-Norse period is actually when they developed, the period is segregated into when they developed the language. So let's see. The language that they did use, which I had to look up how to say this, it is the Ymir Futhark. So the Ymir Futhark is actually like it's the more advanced version of runic writings.
Uh-huh.
So like the runes that we see all the time,
Yeah.
that like the most known, that's actually called Elder Futhark. And Elder Futhark is composed of 24 characters, and it was, it was the more basic version of the
Yeah, it's like
language.
simplified.
And then they evolved into Ymir Futhark, which brought it down to 16 characters, and it was started to be in use during the 9th century, so 1000 AD, which is kind of wild, dog. Shut
Yeah,
the
that's
fuck.
kind of.
That she'd be texting me, bro. I don't want to talk to her right now. I'm doing important things. All right, so
Important things.
important things, dog. So, uh, you know, they had to really like piece this together, with archaeology, toponymy, and then records left in those runic inscriptions. So let's see. So Norse mythology or Old Norse religion was a how do you say that? Poly poly po, poly
Polytheistic.
polyistic, yes. Poly,
Polytheistic.
polytheistic,
Like a polygon, right?
poly
Just add theistic after that.
polytheistic.
There we go.
Okay, so a polytheistic religion. So various gods and goddesses,
Mm.
which honestly, a lot of religions are
Yeah.
polytheistic. So hopefully people know what that is. If not,
Yeah, except those weirdos with their monotheistic religions.
God,
Yeah.
if you believe in a monotheistic religion, L.
Yeah, honestly, I'll believe.
So the difference though, not knowing a lot, but this is pretty different to polytheistic religions, is that there's actually two distinct different groups of gods in Norse religion. You probably know about this. There's the Aesir and the Vanir. So the Aesir are the most common known gods. You have pop culture with Marvel. A lot of people know them because of like Odin, Thor, Loki. But
Hmm.
they are the most aggressive and most dominant form of the gods. A lot of them are honestly like war gods, and that has a lot. Like, I learned by doing my research here that war has a lot, like a huge effect on like Nordic Vikings. Like
Oh, yeah,
huge.
they really like fighting.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that too because I have some like theories that we're gonna be talking about, and there's some like a brief distinction on why they value that so much. So they're more aggressive and they reside in like the realm of Asgard. So they have their own realm and everything. Um, and then the Vanir are more peaceful gods. I think they reside in the realm of Vanheim. Vanaheim, yes.
Cut that out.
So no, all uncut, all uncut.
Oh, okay.
So they're more peaceful gods. The main three are okay. I tried to look up how to pronounce this, but this is probably one of the hardest god names to pronounce. Ninor. Ninor. He's like the Poseidon, if you want to put it in basic.
Oh, Njord.
Bjorn, yes. Luckily you're more linguistic than I am because I cannot pronounce a lot of these things, man. I tried my hardest. So, and then he had two kids, Frey and Freya. And so a lot of them represent, beauty, wealth, fertility. I also learned that they also represent wisdom and future sight, which is kind of wild. Because I did not know that there was any like gods that just represented future sight because it put them together as a whole.
Oh.
And they are known to actually be more related to the elves and like, because again, I'm skipping over myself. Nordic religion, has dwarves, elves. Like, honestly, I'm pretty sure Nordic religion is like the basis of like what
Fantasy.
RPGs are, Yeah, fantasy, elves, dwarves. So the Vanir are more related to the dwarves than they are humans, unlike the Aesir, who are more related to the humans. All right. And then we also have the whole thing of there being multiple realms, all connected by the world tree Yggdrasil. So honestly, I think that has to do with like Yggdrasil has to be their like representation of the universe, right?
Yeah.
And I did read something based off of constellations. So I think this is just my own thoughts. I haven't done too much research into this specifically, but I thought about it as I was researching it. So you know how like um Greeks and like Romans, they believed that the gods were like the planets in the sky that we could
Yeah.
see, right? So that's why, our planets are named after the Roman gods like Mercury, Jupiter, all
Hmm.
of that. I had the same thought that I was like, well, humans are pretty simpler. What if those planets that they saw, they gave them realms?
Yeah, they thought they were the different realms.
Yeah, yeah, and I was like, that's pretty cool to think of it that they couldn't. They were like, it has to be all together in like a big tree. So Yggdrasil is kind of their representation of the universe, which I think is pretty sick.
Yeah, the world tree is like the universe holds everything together.
Also, we're gonna get into. I have one huge theory, dude, of like that. You know, a lot of this connects to what we know of space and like modern science and modern science theories, which I think is pretty wild. Like considering that this is ninth century or before ninth century that this was around. So it is crazy, like putting like the pieces together and like thinking about this. All right. And then, that's the brief, what you need to know about Norse mythology before we really start talking about it. There's a lot more, but that was my brief, rundown on the history and the basics behind it.
Hmm.
But it got wiped out again by Christianity. Um, Made its way into Scandinavia. By the time it made it into Scandinavia, most of Europe was already converted to Catholicism or Christianity, right?
Yeah.
So they there's actually not much detail either into how the Christians converted the Scandinavian people. There's too much like lack of textual evidence on it.
Probably ethnic cleansing. That's my best guess.
What is ethnic cleansing?
Uh,
Go into it. Go into it, please.
um, uh, they they um they just killed them all.
Yeah, I believe it.
If
Um,
they didn't like what that person was believing, they just killed them.
it was fairly quick though. It only took a few decades to
Yeah.
convert all of Scandinavia. They did it. They were, you know what? Them Christians were damn efficient though with it. Like, they did that. They did that quick.
Jesus forgives, but Christians most definitely do not.
Definitely. All right. So here. Now finally, I had to go over the brief history part, like, be knowledgeable, know how it starts, right? So we're gonna go over my favorite part of the North or the Nordic mythology, which is the stories. Because if anyone has like researched anything about these stories or the tales that they have, they're wild and incomprehensible. Sometimes it's like, what is going on, right?
Uh-huh.
So this one especially because partway through, like I even know a little bit of this story, but like I was reading into it more detail and I was like, what the hell is going on? Like it slowly starts to ramp up into just straight what the fuck, right?
Yeah, that's how I felt doing research for mines. It was just
I
the rabbit hole I was going down I did not expect.
We really had to
Ow,
pick
fuck.
the like worst ones to go into of just like most unknown. But so I picked the story, the creation of the cosmos, all right? So I know that you know a little bit of this,
Uh-huh.
but so before the creation of the world, there was an abyss known as, you know how to say it. How do I say it again?
Gunungagap?
Gunnan Gap. Gunnan Gap. Gunnan Gap.
Yeah.
Gunnan Gap. So it was described as exactly what you think. It's an abyss. It's darkness, silence. Nothing exists there. And in between, it laid in between two of the realms that already exist. No clue how they already exist. They just do. It's one of those kind of descriptions. There's a lot of things in Norse mythology that is just because it happens.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
they just spawned in.
Yeah, they were there already. So you got Muspelheim, which is the realm of fire, and Niflheim, the realm of ice. And so they have this void in between them, but the fire and the ice slowly starts to leak out, and then they met in the middle, the fire melting the ice, and it dripped down and created the first godlike of giants known as Ymir. So Ymir is the father of giants. There's a lot I learned about Ymir that I did not know as well. So we're gonna be talking about Ymir a lot. Really important.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Um. So first thing, Ymir's name in Old Norse actually translates to mean screamer.
That I don't know how I feel about that one.
Yeah, to me it kind of terrified me. But there is a big point into screamer because I was like, what the hell? And then I later learned more about it, and it's kind of cool. But so, and then this is one of those weird ass stories. So Ymir was there, and he could produce. I think is it asexually, where he just reproduce by himself, pretty
Yeah.
much. They describe it specifically, and so they specifically say more giants would leap from his legs and the sweat of his armpits.
Oh
Nowhere
yeah.
else. Just his legs and his armpits. More giants would come from. And then
Musk.
and then as more of the ice melted, it also created a cow named Aduhamelia. Very another one of those weird names that I just cannot pronounce. But it made a
Uh,
big cow. Made
Big
a
cow.
big
Yep,
cow.
I got it. I
Big
got the
cow.
general idea.
Big cow. All right. And the cow's name translates to mean abundance of humming. I never learned more about that. All right. I just know that I saw that it means abundance of humming. But she, the cow, nourished Ymir with her milk.
Pranks on you, Ymir. It's not a she.
Oh, maybe that's why his name was Screamer. The real story is he figures out that the cat was not a she and he was not sucking on a teeth. Okay. But so yeah, the cow nourished Ymir with her milk, and in turn, she. This does not describe it. I don't know if she got this from Ymir or just Niflheim, but it says that she was nourished by salt licks in the ice.
uh, that sounds like, I mean, in Niflheim, probably.
Yeah, I was thinking it's probably Niflheim because it's like she licks ice, Ymir suck on teeth, and giant spawn, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But so salt licks in the ice, they continuously lick the ice. Oh wait, before I got into this, so we talked about the big cow, right? Big
Yeah,
cow. We first talked about giants, right? Giants,
yeah.
non-existent, okay? But then we talk about cows. Does does this mean that in Norse mythology, cows are a primordial being?
Cows.
Because
Yeah.
that means that cows existed before the world existed.
Yeah. Cow. Well, primordial is before time, if I'm correct. I would I would have to double check, but I'm pretty sure primordial is before time. Existing at or from the beginning of time. Yeah, or
From
primeval.
So almost, not exactly, but is on the same in Norse mythology as Ymir.
Yeah, because I
Like,
mean the realms and like the world structure hasn't even been really made yet, so yeah, definitely a
yeah,
primordial cow.
yeah, definitely primordial cow, which I thought was insane. Like, that means that this cow is on the same terms as, like, Cthulhu.
Yeah, this cow fostered the creation of all of the realms.
Which is, like, why I haven't done much into, like, is it Buddhism?
Buddhism?
Why that's the one that they worship the cows, or is it Hinduism?
Oh my
I think it's
god.
Hinduism.
You can't say that. It's Hinduism.
Yeah, it is. It is.
You can't say that.
It is. I couldn't remember. That was just me not being able to. But do they have a cool story like that? Like a cow being a primordial being?
Um, c- uh, continue with the creation. Continue with the creation.
Well, we'll get into that at a later date. So after the cow licked the salt ice enough, she revealed the first of the Aesir gods. Okay? Now this is where it kind of gets a little wild. So she revealed a god named Buri, right?
Mhm.
Buri means the like it's like not prodigy, like progenitor or something like that. Pretty much the start of gods is
Uh-huh.
what his name means. Then and then this is where it gets very, very weird. So he shows up. It just immediately says he has a son. No,
No.
no, like idea where the son came from, but he has the son named Bor. And Bor's name, guess what his name means?
Uh, pig.
Son.
Oh.
So Bor just exists. All right. Bor, no mention of a mother. He just exists. But Bor married a giant named Bestila. All
Uh-huh.
right.
Yeah.
So Bor actually married a giant. So from
Oh,
this
yeah.
point on, I realized that Aesir gods, all the Aesir that are well known, are all actually half giant. The only two full gods are Beer and his son Bor,
Hmm.
or Buri and his son Bor, which I didn't know and is kind of weird to think about, especially when we get into what giants actually represent in a bit here. All right.
Yep.
I just want you to remember that.
Oh, and a real quick interjection.
Hmm.
Uh, in Hinduism, they worship the. Oh my God,
No, no.
my computer just had a stroke. In Hinduism, apparently the cow represents like Mother Earth and the the milk of the cow nourishing its creatures, or something along those lines.
So almost the same, because in Nordic mythology, the cow technically nourished the world.
Yeah, yeah. So they're kind of on the same page there.
Okay. 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 But then uh, Bestia, all right, who was the daughter of the giant Balt Thorn.
Yeah.
All right. And they had three half god, half giant children named Odin, Vil, and Ve.
Oh my. Yeah.
Yeah. So Odin is technically half god, half giant, not full
Yeah.
god. So, and again, that really confused me because that is all a short sentence of explanation. Like, that's all they have to go off of it, right? Is just there was a god, he has a son. Son married giant, they had three kids. It just goes like that, bro. Just so quick. We went into all this, like, in detail explanation of how Ymir was born and how he was nourished. But then the gods are just like, it just happened because the
Yeah,
cow
they
licked the
just
salt.
slash spawned.
Yeah. Okay. And then, so there's not much detail what happens in between here, but Odin and his brothers kill Ymir.
Yep.
All right? So they kill Ymir and they start the construction of the world from his corpse.
Here's
Now
talking to the
it says here, quoted, they fashion the oceans from his blood, the soil from his skin and muscles, vegetation from his hair, clouds from his brains, which is kind of weird because when I was like thinking about it, I was like, clouds do kind of look like brains. I don't know if I'm weird for that, but in like the lumpy kind of like
Yeah,
construction of clouds.
those cumulonimbus clouds, particularly. I'm no cloud expert, but
Oh yeah,
yeah, I know those cirrostratus clouds. I think they are definitely don't be looking like brains.
yeah, the flat ones don't, but just in like, cause like, okay, I'm probably underlooking these people, but like Children Ooga Booga Caveman Brain probably looks up at
Ooh,
clouds and says brain. You know what I mean?
brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that that's reasonable.
And then this is the weird part. They fashion the sky from his skull.
Yeah, it's just a thunderdome.
Yeah, the world is just a Thunderdome. Everyone who's telling you the world is flat, wrong, Thunderdome. So, and then there's a little short thing. So the skull is actually held up by 4 dwarves, corresponding to the 4 cardinal points. Don't know what 4 cardinal points means, but 4 dwarves. Pretty
North,
much.
southeast.
Oh yeah.
Cut that
I'm
out.
a
Cut that
little.
out. Cut that out.
I'm a little too stupid to be talking about history, but you know we're gonna keep rolling with it, dog. I'm learning
Yeah,
myself here.
yeah, no, we
So
didn't.
they held up his skull above the earth, creating the sky. All right, and then after that, the gods created the first man and woman. It says the name is spelled out ask, A-S-K,
Yep.
but I know for sure that's probably not how it's pronounced.
Uh,
But ask
uh,
and
ask.
Bella.
I can't think of it.
I can't. I don't want to do it because I know if I try to like throw some pronunciation on it, it's going to be like it's racist. It's a hate crime. Definitely. Like but and Bella they fashioned the 2 first humans from 2 tree trunks and then they built a fence around Midgard to protect them from giants. So in conclusion, world is Thunderdome.
Big ass Thunderdome. Really, really
Fence,
big.
dome, no giants, only man, Thunderdome. All right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into a little
Attack
bit
on
of the
Titan.
mean.
Sorry.
No, stop. So the story and its meanings. All right. Here's where it gets a little crazy. It gets a little bit like because you know it sounds like from that it sounds like okay there was a giant and the giant was killed and created the earth, right? You could bring it down to that, but actually does have some meaning behind it. Ymir is actually the personification of chaos before creation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know, there's Gununganap, which is just nothingness, and in nothingness there was only chaos.
Yeah.
All right, which is Ymir, and then it's their way of talking about how much like limitless potential that hasn't been used. Ymir is meant to describe that he's not really doing much. He's just unused potential right there.
Yeah.
And then that's also why Gungnap is also described as like a void or abyss. It's just this space that they could do anything with it. And then the lesson is that the gods saw what they could do with this space. So, and it's actually pretty common. Like that description is pretty common in other religions that there was a void and then there was chaos and then the
Yeah.
chaos was brought into order. So same thing here, the gods put to use the chaos, organizing it, turning it into order, making the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it goes into so much detail about how they're using the different pieces of Ymir into creating the world, which I think is pretty cool. Like when I first heard it, I was just like, wow, that sounds like a very brutal, like, you know, early depiction of how the world was made, but
Yeah,
it actually has like a lot of meaning.
when you really think about it, they actually fucked him up. Like they jumped his ass and they ripped that nigga apart.
They really did, dude. It was definitely unfair. That was unfair. I just imagine like Ymir as the dad and the wife beater just chilling back, you know, drinking a beer, just so tired, bro. Just so tired. And some random kids that were just newly born just pull up and this he's too drunk and too tired to do anything and they just rip him to pieces.
They just jumped his ass. Let him get up. Let him get up.
Yeah.
He had no chance.
But I got so I'm lost now. So, okay. But then here's another thing. So the giants were born from Ymir. So giants actually, if you look at a lot of the stories, giants are also they depict chaos still existing. The giants are the remnants of chaos, which was Ymir in the mythology. And they're in the stories they're always threatening to corrupt, overturn, cause chaos anytime. Giants are always trying to do that, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, at Ragnarok, the giants versus the gods, the giants succeed in bringing chaos back. All right?
Mm-hmm.
And now, this is we're gonna get into two things by saying that. So the giants represent chaos, which is weird because Odin and all of the other gods, or at least the Aesir, are all half giant then.
Yeah. Mm.
They are all part giant. So, like, does that explain why the gods are cruel in the way that they are? Because Norse gods are especially cruel compared to most other gods. They're fucked. They do whatever the hell they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're crazy motherfuckers, that's for sure.
And that's why I was thinking about it. I may be thinking a little bit too much into it, being like, okay, well, if giants are chaos, they have half giant in them. Is that why they're the way that they are? I don't know if that's how they thought, but it's it's kind of interesting to think about that, giants are the main enemy, but gods are part giant,
Oh
right?
my God. It's all about how the enemy could also be within yourself. It could be you. You have to learn how to subdue that part of yourself. It's an internal battle. I've already cracked the code.
You might have. That makes sense, but they never have any lessons. The gods still do
Oh
whatever the
no.
hell they want to do because they know that they're gonna die, which I think is a lesson that we should live up to. You ever thought about that? I just said that, but it's like, you know what? You know what, people who are listening to this, you're going to die. There's nothing you can do. You will die. All right? So live freely.
Yep.
Go
That is imminent.
do drugs. Fuck
Wait,
midgets.
wait, I think we're spiraling a little out of control right now.
No, but I think that was a big thing, and another thing with the whole being able to tell prophecies. Like they all know that they're gonna die, right?
Yeah.
They know that the outcome is set already, and the gods are kind of just like okay with that. Like in the religion, they never really they prevent Ragnarok, right? But they know at some point it's gonna happen, and there's nothing that they can do about it. They can just stall it, right?
Yep. Just keep putting it off.
Which again is another reason why I think they were so crazy, because they had no like they knew what was going to happen. They knew how they were going to die, so they knew that they had no consequences.
This is yet another reason why you should do your homework.
Why?
Don't push that shit off until the last minute, because, like, damn, you're gonna fucking die anyway. That deadline is coming up regardless. It doesn't matter how far you push it back.
I like your lesson a lot more than mine of do drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, doing your homework has
Do your
significantly
homework.
more positive impact than, like doing a line of that good stuff.
Get them gains, bro. Hit the gym.
On.
Lift big metal.
Lift.
So, here, where is it? Okay, Ymir's and again, in this way, Ymir's name is also pretty poetic. All right, so we went over the name that it means screamer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in a way, it also means the scream or wordless voice. A scream is just a wordless voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which represents raw material from what words are made of. And then the gods came and took the raw material, the wordless voice, and turned it into a voice with words.
Oh shit!
So the
They're controlling
name's
the chaos.
yeah, his whole name Screamer is just a really fancy and complicated way to describe like a raw material.
Yeah,
All
they're
right.
refining the iron.
Yeah, which again I think is really cool. I got into this and I really thought like, oh yeah, Ymir, brutal story, but it has so much like meaning behind it. Like this whole idea of chaos and order. And oh, okay. One of my biggest things that kind of got me a little confused. We talked about Ragnarok, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ragnarok and end of time brings chaos back to the universe, right?
Yep.
End of everything. So this was weird to me because my brain immediately related this to the theory of the universe ending, the one with the black holes. So there's this
Mm-hmm.
theory where because there's black holes and they absorb matter, that at some point the universe stops expanding and the black holes absorb everything and merge into one black hole, right?
Yeah.
And matter never disappears. We know that that's a basic law.
Energy. Yeah.
Yeah, it can never
Cannot
just
be created nor
disappear.
destroyed.
Yeah. So it would all be compressed into one spot. All the matter
One
in the
point.
universe would be one point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then at probably that now this is where it like stops getting scientific, but all of the matter at one point cannot be contained and then it expands, making the Big Bang and restarting the universe.
Yeah, there's some room for error. We're obviously not fucking astrophysicists, so
Yeah. Like I heard that theory and personally that's my favorite theory of the universe ending because then that means it's a cycle.
let's go. I get round two to finally start pulling hose.
Yeah, dude. Dude, that is my excuse now. Why don't you have a girlfriend? I'm just waiting for round two.
I'm waiting for round two.
This one was already bad, bro. I had a bad start, you know. Hopefully, we get good RNG next one.
Yeah, once the refresh hits, it's over for y'all.
It's over, dog. It's over. I will be embodied with ultimate confidence and pull all of the hose. But I like that because it seems like a cycle. And I like that idea of there being a cycle in the universe. And I related this specifically to Norse mythology that it kind of makes sense in the same way that in the end chaos takes over again, right?
Yeah.
And all we know of is that the gods existed already. right? There
Yeah.
was at least a god that existed and his son. And then they merged with the giants to create more gods. And then those gods created the earth. So in Ragnarok, it's a reset. What if it's the same thing that happens? That at the end of Ragnarok, all that remains is Muspelheim and Niflheim, and the
Yep.
same thing happens again.
It's just an endless cycle of rebirth. I'm pretty sure there's yeah. Never mind. Never mind.
Like, which to me is a little unfortunate that we don't know too much about Norse mythology because it was kind of, you know, ripped away and dissolved. But I feel like there'd have to be something in there, right? That the idea of after Ragnarok, it all restarts and the cycle continues,
Mm.
ultimately kind of being like a metaphor for the cycle of life.
Tis, yeah.
Yeah. But okay. So I got into that. That was one thing that I had that I was really like, is this what this means? But then, oh, okay. Okay. So, a quick comparison between Christianity and Norse religion, all right? In a way that they are actually very different and how this affects the actual people that lived during that time that believed in this religion, all right?
Mm.
So, in Christianity, we have the first recorded intention of taking a life in Christianity is Abel and Cain, right?
Yeah.
Which was murder that was seen as a sin. Cain was punished for it, right?
Dude, Kane fucked him up. He straight beat that nigga over the head with a rock. But that's not important. Continue.
Wasn't it? It was over. Was it over a hoe? Was it?
Was it?
Was the
Uh,
origin of sin over a hoe?
oh my god. Um, it was. It just ruined everything. Impossible.
On God.
It's been so since the beginning.
That is the secret message in Christianity. Bitches be ruining everything.
That it's facts, actually.
But okay, big comparison there. That was seen as a sin. Intentionally taking a life away was a sin
Hmm.
in Christianity. Well, in Norse religion, the first recorded intention of taking a life is actually the gods killing Ymir,
Hmm.
right? Which is not ever seen as a sin, right? It was seen as honorably taking his his life to create
Yeah.
something new. And that is actually really important to the Nordic people because a lot of times back then we saw that they had a distinction between lawful and unlawful killing, but they all did embrace a warlike approach to life for the sake of honor, renown, great deeds.
Hmm.
They all had this like, even the Nordic afterlife is Valhalla, which is dying an honorable death in battle,
Yeah, I
right?
doubt I could use that excuse to like claim someone's life insurance policy. Just kill them. It was I was putting their death to good use, so I had a good reason to. It was an honorable it's an honorable homicide.
No, not in that way. They weren't just like these barbarians.
But it benefits me greatly. It's an
You know what? Like, now that you're thinking about it, it sounds like you're doing a satirical, like, explanation on war in itself. Like, yeah, this is lawful because it benefits me greatly. It's okay to, like, create these weapons of mass destruction because they greatly benefit me. But it's
Like no
honorable.
one
It's
else.
honorable.
It's just me. It's honorable. It keeps the balance.
Yeah, yeah, it helps me, which in turn, like, maybe might help the rest of everyone else, but mainly it helps me.
Yeah, they're not important though.
Okay, yeah, that is a little fucked. But the whole thing with Ymir is that they don't ever see this as like they see it that killing people is not out of the option. It is something that they can do, and they honor and respect it greatly. Both sides, like Viking on Viking combat, is very, honorable in a way that they're fighting to see who is more skillful, and both sides know that in the end it was like this person was more powerful, so that they were meant to win. And even if you die, you died an honorable death to an enemy.
Mhm.
So it's I kind of like it in that way, that they had this completely different way of thinking, that like taking a life was not completely immoral. And it sounds wrong that I'm exclaiming it now because it makes me sound like a serial killer. Like like why can't we all be like that, you know?
Why can't I just kill someone and it'll be fine?
Yeah, like it's honorable. I'm trying to go to Valhalla. What the hell? It greatly benefits me. But so it's like, what is it? Hold on. Sorry, I gotta read my notes here for a second.
Like all the time you need.
Yeah. So
Actually,
it's
not all the
like,
time you need.
yeah,
Oh no,
there's
but
there's the very like glorification and like honorable taking of Ymir's life, and like that is very very big part of Viking like religion is fighting, and it is cool to see that like both the end and the start and the end of like the creation in their stories of like Nordic religion both involve like first the honorable taking of a life to create something new, and then in the end it is constant fighting to like try to keep the order. Like even Valhalla is described as an endless battlefield pretty much.
yep, they just keep fighting, throwing hands, and training until Ragnarok comes.
Yeah, which unlike I just really liked getting into that because it's it's like they Nordic mythology in a way to all of these other popular like well-known mythos has this whole you know thought process of fighting and like being warriors,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of cool, which is going to lead me that my next topic that I'm actually going to research is going to be Viking war tactics and how they would fight and some of the major battles that they may have fought.
hmm
That is exactly what I'm going to do next. But that is actually all the notes that I have on that story alone. I wanted to start with the story of creation. And even though it's like a short story, there's a lot of this like poetic meaning behind it.
Yeah, it really sounds like they were like way ahead of their time.
it yeah, which is like maybe I've spent too much time on social media, but the whole like oh the pyramids and that they're all along the same line. It's like, well, how did the
What?
Vikings like the whole like superstitious part of it, but it
Yeah.
kind of got me thinking like that's crazy how they thought of these like situations the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Unless they really didn't put that much thought into it at all and were just
We're
drunk off their
overlooking it.
ass off of a cup of mead sitting next to a campfire like, dude, what if this shit happened? That would be crazy.
Yeah, just like, a group of guys got together and ate a couple of funny looking mushrooms and created this story. Which
Dude, I
honestly,
saw
you
this
know what?
8 legs, man. Craziest shit I've ever seen.
Like, dude, I saw this like really big log in the water, and dude, like, what if there was like, there's this snake in the water that's as big as all of the land we know, and it just constantly wraps around.
Like what? Like a big ass snake, man. I'm telling you, I've seen it too. You
Like,
guys need to come with me next time.
bro, I don't understand all this, but you see those shiny lights up there in the sky that, like, we can see even in the dark, but only can see them a couple of times. Like, we definitely gotta be in a tree, man. Like, it's
Like a
definitely a tree.
big ass tree.
And there's this giant lizard that lives at the bottom of the tree, and a giant bird that lives at the top, and there's just this squirrel that goes back and forth and is constantly talking shit about both of them.
He's
Yo,
like a
honestly,
designated driver, but a designated shit talker.
dude, Ratatoskr is my favorite. The fact that he just wants chaos. I fucking love that dog. That's all he wants. He's the instigator,
Yeah,
dude. He's that one
he's
kid
the
at
divine
school.
instigator.
Yeah, always trying to get people to fight. Did you know a kid at your school like that?
Well, I wasn't social, so I didn't know very many kids.
Ah, there was.
Personally, I wouldn't let him talk to me like that, but I guess
Yeah,
that's just me.
no, honestly, you are Ratatoskr. Your amount of gaslighting and shit
I
talking.
don't gaslight. Hey, this is slander.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But
How crazy you sound right now. You always say I'm.
but what were your thoughts on that? I'm just curious because I did a lot of talking there, and I kind of, what were your thoughts on the whole beginning of Norse mythology? Did I give you something that you didn't know? You
Um,
definitely didn't know that Ymir's name was Screamer. I know
I
that for sure.
very much did not know that his name was Screamer, and I only really knew like the basics of the creation, like the cow and how Ymir formed and all that. I don't really remember him like sweating deities and
Yeah,
giants from
no,
his
it was specifically giants from
or
only his
giants
legs
in
and the
armpits.
sweat of his armpits. The sweat.
That that is some
They say that
potent
specifically.
sweat, man.
Oh God.
But I
I
never thought
almost
about
just
like
I almost just referenced licking it, but
li- don't say that. Don't say that.
you cut that
I'm
out.
glad you stopped yourself. Yeah, cut that out. Cut that out. Well, like I never thought about like the philosophies and the themes of Norse mythology.
Which I
That's
thought
funny.
in the end, I thought that was really cool because we see like, when you think of Vikings and like Norse mythology, you think of like these barbarians, like
Yeah,
almost caveman like people with axes and boats.
that's
But
kind of fucked up.
it really is that we portray them that way. But like looking into it, it's like there's a lot of like philosophy that goes in with their stories.
Yeah, it's kind of that's your surface level thought. It's like the same way that the Romans considered the the tribes, I guess, like outside of their cities as like barbarians, even though they're actually like pretty advanced. They're living like pretty comfortable lives for, barbaric people.
Yeah, like we even see that with um like in modern movies. Like I saw this video, like one of the videos of like professionals reacting to movies, right? And
Hmm.
it's this professional ancient warfare historian, and he looks over these like movies, and I was like excited to watch it because I was like, oh, so excited to see what's accurate about these movies. Like some of my favorite movies, like they went over Troy, and
Hmm.
like I grew up with that movie as a kid, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely love Troy. Um, but like he went over it, and dude, I've never seen this skinny like Norwegian man was so pissed. He was so mad, dude. He was so mad. He was like, "What is wrong with you?" He was like, he was calling things out. He was like, that's racist. You're making them look like barbarians. And what is it? The movie Braveheart. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't seen it, but
So it's pretty much like a depiction of the battle between the Scots
yeah,
and the English.
I know what it is. I just haven't seen it.
And they depict the English as like, these knights on horseback with
Yeah,
ordered, cavalry and like lines of men, and then it shows the Scots as like,
knuckle dragging
wearing
brown knights.
hide. Yeah, just wearing hide with sticks and just like tiny wood shields, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go fight. When in fact they had like advanced pike lines and like were sophisticated people, and it's like wild to think about that, dude. That like why is it that we depict northern just Europe as barbarians?
Uh, England moment, perhaps.
Honestly, they're still barbarians, bro.
They've been the barbarians all along.
Honestly, maybe that's why, dog. Just we see them teeth and we're like, nah, that's barbaric right there.
Use one of these advanced solutions like Invisalign. That'll surely help you.
Oh my god. But we're getting close to an hour. But I'm actually surprised that didn't feel like an hour at all.
It really didn't. That
I
it
thought
was
I
kind of
thought
just flowing.
I only had like 2 pages of notes, and they were like very spaced out, very short notes. But I wasn't sure I was gonna make it to an hour. I was getting to the end of it, and I was like, oh fuck, we've only been like probably for like 30 minutes, and I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, it's about an
Yeah,
hour.
no, the clock was definitely pushing. It was pushing very hard.
But so I think we should about end it here. But I wanted to know, what exactly are you gonna be doing for the next episode?
What am I gonna be doing?
Yeah, I'm curious.
So you know, it's almost symbolic. You're doing the Norse creation, right? I thought I'd do something with Japanese creation. May
Which,
or may not have been a mistake. This is a clusterfuck if I've ever seen it.
yeah, we were in the call together, like doing our research, kind of like we were talking about it, and then we were like, wait, we shouldn't be talking about it. But then you were in the background. I was like typing things down, zoned out, and I just heard like, yo, what the fuck is that? Like, I'm very excited, honestly, to listen to you talk about it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how I'm gonna say this shit.
And then also, I should probably give my sources. So sources, Wikipedia. Fuck you if you think Wikipedia is not a reliable source.
Oh God.
And
You
then
can't
also
stand Wikipedia.
most of my I got most of my information on the creation of the cosmos from um, Norse Mythology.org. And I actually really suggest going through, like, anyone who's more curious if I didn't do a good enough job explaining the story and you want more detail of it, go into there, because they have a very like detailed and like poetic explanations of these, which I really enjoyed. And also,
It's like the stories come from the poetic Edda almost. What?
yeah. But yeah, I guess we end it here. We don't really
Yeah,
have an idea for an outro, do we?
yeah. We never really thought about this conclusion.
Uh, I'm Dick, and he's Ass,
Uh.
and we'll see you
Well,
next week.
the the dick shrink. Come back when it's. I don't fucking know where I'm going with
Yeah,
this. Never mind.
and about, I don't know, like, it'll be gone. You know, after Dick and Ass have come together, it takes like Dick maybe about an hour or so to come back up again. So
An
be
hour.
prepared for that.
All right. Yeah.
We're
No,
just
this
gonna
is going
end
on
it.
for too long. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
Bye.
Just curtains.